Pastor James, say hello to everyone.
Mahal kita, Brad. Mahal kita.
Ayos pare.
Hey everyone, how you doing? Good to be here. Hi, Kat. I miss you, Kat.
Hi, James. I know. It's been too long.
It's good to see you.
But just give us Pastor James. I know you. I know that's not your setup. You're not cool enough to have like the TV in the background and the nice mic. Where are you at the moment?
Listen, that's not kind.
Okay.
I'm at someone's house. Let's just keep it like that.
Okay.
I don't name drop. So I'm just at someone's house.
All right. Sige, we won't say it's I just place. Sige. Kat, where are you at? I know you're in quarantine at the moment. Where are you at, Kat?
Yeah, I am halfway through my quarantine at a hotel here in Adelaide. I'm inching ever so closer to seeing my parents for the first time in a year and a half. So, yeah, I'm excited and super over being stuck in a room.
So you're how long have you been there so far? What, like 7-8 days?
I'm on day 8 of 50.
Okay, day 8.
So slowly but surely.
Well, that's all about to do with, you know, can I say it's super awkward interviewing you guys because you guys know how I talk when they're not live.
Yeah.
So like getting this, I can see Pastor James already thinking. But I just want to ask you guys. You know, we've had to do a lot of adjusting. Usually, this would be in in a room, in a studio, seats, lights, cameras everywhere. But you guys are both really used to that. But you're also used to the new normal. So I want to throw it to Pastor James real quick. You've done a lot of adjusting and pivoting with our church in the new normal. We've gone online. So tell us how it is. How have you coped with it all?
Yeah, it's been a lot different. I mean, the moment you go online, especially for us as a church, we've gotten like a whole bunch of trolls that have come after. And it's so funny because I used to sit with people like you know, before COVID. They'd be like, oh, I've got these trolls. They annoy me. And I'm like, just don't worry about it. They're nobody. They're faceless. They don't even put their picture up. Just don't let it affect you. And then I remember like the first week I preached online and a troll got on. I'm like, I wanted to punch somebody. I'm like, you don't know me. And so now I feel that pain, but no, I just think it's you had to adjust. You've just had to change, and you know, Zoom. I hate Zoom, but I found this really cool filter that makes me look tan. So you just got to do what you got to do.
Is that a filter?
Just in it, but it's been hard, and I think it's still hard, especially here in the Philippines. It's really hard, and it you know, it doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon, and so. It's just been a really big 15 months, I think, for everybody.
Yep. And, of course, you want to keep on reminding everyone, stay safe and use your, listen to the rules. Of course, face shields only used here in the Philippines, but, hey, we trust our government. We got to use them. But, Kat, you're actually not in the Philippines at the moment. You're in Australia. And I think I'm lagging just a little bit. But I just want to make sure, how are things there? Of course, you mentioned looking forward to seeing your parents, but what are you looking forward to doing there?
Well, just to backtrack a little bit, on the way to the hotel, we were in a bus, and I swear I was just gaping out the windows because, like, no one was wearing a mask. Like, there were kids in groups going to school, and it was just unreal. And I was like, oh, my gosh. I wanted to put my hand on the window, you know? So I think once I get out of quarantine, it's going to be a bit of a shock for the system because, of course, being in the Philippines for the last, more than a year and a half now, I think, it's just... It's become a new normal, wearing masks, keeping distance. Even when I watch movies and I see people touch their face, I get like a little like mental note, like, oh, you're not supposed to do that. Like that's how ingrained everything's got. So I think that's going to be a process of adjusting and then adjusting back when I come back home in a month. So.
Oh no, so soon. But we'll be happy to have you regardless. Actually, I have to say a little shout out to our number one Indian fan, asking how many squats or how much can Pastor James squat. We don't need to know that, Pranav.
More than Pranav.
More than Pranav. But there's so many people from Favorite Church actually watching. We say hello to we got Migs, we got Pranav, we got Aija, we got so many people. So shout out to the whole Favorite fam. We love you guys so much.
Can I just shout out my 3 babies are watching right now. Hope,
okay, go ahead.
Aslan, my little kids, and I love you, and I miss you guys. I'll see you soon.
Pastor James, I actually have an idea if Sienna actually wants to make a YouTube channel. The idea for the channel is CCTV.
Yeah,
See,
that's clever. I like that.
and that's where we move on. Okay, that joke central. But the reason I want you guys on the show, honestly, is because you guys have such shining and bright testimonies and stories to tell. And I want to dive straight into that, honestly. Like, I don't want to, in Tagalog they say, walang paligoy-ligoy pa. We don't want to beat around the bush. I just really want to dive into it. And before we get to CATRIONA's, because we know a little bit about it, but we want to know more about what's behind the crown, I want to throw it to you, Pastor James, who's, we've been in the dark as you are at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened. Sorry.
All good. Sorry. It's all right. But you actually have a really crazy story to tell. And when I say crazy, I mean you can see God's hand throughout it all. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your story? And you got married very young.
Yeah.
You start. Give us a little bit of background about how you started in ministry, and then that crazy experience that you had.
Well, I mean, like my story starts right at the beginning, where I was actually born here in the Philippines. So I'm the whitest Filipino you'll know, and I lived about 11 years here of my childhood. My parents are Australian, so that's why it's like Aussie night tonight with me and Kat.
Aussie.
On here, and I grew up around church and everything my whole life, like a lot of people in the Philippines, but just did not care about God. I just had no real interaction, and so some pretty big stuff happened to me when I was 17. Just made me really check my life and what mattered and what my purpose was. Like, what was I living for? And I just knew that there had to be so much more than just living day to day, going to school, getting a degree, get a good job, and go on vacations. There has to be something more. And that something more for me was God. And so when I was 22, I got married, and I was
22.
Yeah, I was 22. I was young. She was 20.
Wow.
And in Australia, you can get jobs and I graduated college already and had my own place, had my own car, and so you can kind of get through things a bit faster there. And so we got married, and we were married for 9 weeks, and 9 weeks and 2 days into our marriage, I woke up, and my wife was breathing really, really strangely in the bed. And, kind of a long story short, she basically died in my bed. That morning, we called the ambulance, rushed her to the hospital, did all that kind of stuff. But she died suddenly, and they did an autopsy, and 24-hour autopsy. They found nothing wrong with her, that she would die. And they did a 7-month autopsy and found out that there was no medical reason why she died. So, I'm 22 years old and felt like I was living in a movie, and felt like this is not real. And I remember having a moment where I really decided, even though I don't understand everything, even though I don't have the answers, which is so much about life, right? We understand very little about life. I still knew that God loved me, and I knew that she loved Jesus, so she was in heaven. So for me, I held on to God, and for me, God was my purpose, and he helped me, and he healed me. But it was tough. I went through hell, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But in that season, I found God even more than what I felt I already had, and I just got a purpose. And so, it's with that purpose in mind that 5 years ago, I married my beautiful wife, Kate, nearly 13 years ago. 5 years ago, we moved out here to the Philippines, and we started a church from scratch, and we're here. And, a lot of people ask me, why are you in the Philippines? Why did you come back? And I said, well, again, I feel like I've got a purpose, and I think that purpose is in God, and I love this place as my home. I want to die here, hopefully a long time away.
Of course.
But yeah, that's my sort of quick story and how I found my purpose and what I feel my purpose is in life.
And I mean, a lot of people, okay, how do I say this? I don't want to make this like a gimmick, but we only have around 1,000 people watching, which is a lot. But those 1,000 people have already given almost. In a couple of minutes, I think we can get there. Just around 700,000 KUMU diamonds, and that's for the love. But I feel like, it's because of the story as well, Pastor James. And I'm not saying that we use that story to get money, but I'm saying that's a story of, I've seen how you've blossomed as well. It sounds really strange me saying this to you because usually you're the one saying it to all of us.
Like a flower. I feel like I've blossomed like a flower, Edward. What type of flower?
Sunflower, because you're a ray of sunshine to all of us.
Tan. It's my tan.
But I'm just saying, like, I remember Pastor Kate, of course, your wife, your current wife,
Yes.
say well, I have to differentiate. I mean, I've heard her tell stories before. Like, there are certain times where you get really, or most people would be stressed about certain situations, or like they would feel under pressure, but you don't feel that anymore because you've gone through a lot already. So how do you feel? Like, can you comment on that?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought because, and I know with all the people watching, everybody has a story. Everybody has something they've gone through, and especially in the Philippines, it's like everybody here has a story of what we've gone through. And for me, my story's my story. It's pretty crazy, but I know that there's been people that have gone through worse. But I kind of like, every time I'm faced with a stressful situation or a pressurized situation, like you said, I kind of compare it to what I went through.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, my wife died in my bed. Is this really a big deal? And if it's not, I know that I can get through it. And I know, and like, I still feel pressure. I'm not I'm not superhuman. Yeah, like I still feel the pressure, but I have the confidence of, man, I know what I've been through, and this ain't near that. And so I know I can handle whatever's coming before me. And so I do compare it. But I think, I think there would be a ton of people watching right now who you've gone through crazy stuff in your life, and you're thinking, what's the purpose? Why have I gone through all this stuff? And, a lot of times we don't know the purpose until we get through the storm, until we see what's on the other side. And
Amen.
Whatever you've gone through, you can actually use that to help others.
That's true.
Testimonies can be shared and inspire as well, but I think that's a great benchmark to move on to a different type of pressure. Of course,
let's talk about the model pressure.
Let's talk about,
from one model to another, Kat. Kat, let's talk about, for the both of us, how hard it is just to look the way we do, Kat. I mean, it's a struggle.
A burden.
Burden that Pastor James would not know about.
I haven't.
Sorry, Pastor James.
I gave up a promising career as a male model to follow the call of God into church. Did you know that?
Is that really? No, really?
Absolutely not. Lying through my
God.
But you sort of believed it. You sort of believed it.
Pastor James, honestly, I had I asked, sorry, Kat, just before you get to you, I had to comment on that. I messaged in our Connect Region group chat, right? Any content, pictures, videos of Pastor James that we could show on the show. And there was just one picture of your yearbook as a kid. And I was supposed to put it in, but I was sleeping last night and I slept late. And I suddenly felt like, man, I just don't really want to show this. So, let's just say if we hit 1 million diamonds.
Level 1 to 10, how stressed are you right now?
Kat, I've been through a lot worse. It's okay.
Wait, do I have your permission to show it then?
I don't care.
Okay.
I am who I am, huh?
All right.
I am who I am. CATRIONA.
This is Pastor James AITON. Before he was a pastor, a male model.
He was a model.
Oh.
See, there's the model looks right there.
Hey, can we acknowledge that necklace? How good's that necklace, though? That's like that.
Well, what was that necklace?
Chokers.
Oh my gosh.
Edward.
Never had them.
You weren't even born when that photo was taken. I just want you to know that.
That's true.
You weren't even born. CATRIONA would have been like 7 years old.
Oh my gosh. Well, speaking of
anyway,
7, number 7.
Edward, we got Miss Universe here. Let's talk to Miss Universe.
And in reverence to all that, we have to say a big thank you because we've been getting tons of diamonds. We already hit 1 million diamonds. We're only 20 minutes in. A big thank you to, we got one. To Chiming Chippy for the Yamashita Gold, the Ibang Adarna, Kevin Home.